Thank you.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Hanlon, if you roll call, please.
Here.
Here.
Sam.
Here.
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 Thank you, Mr. Hanlon. Courtesy of the floor and public comment rules. If you would like to speak this evening, we are asking that you fill out a card. They're located on the back table. Provide them to the clerk before speaking. Please address myself as council president. You are given privilege of the floor to provide public comment. This is a time to present comments. It is not a question and answer session. If you are speaking on behalf of yourself, you have 3 minutes. And if you are speaking on behalf of a group that has several members present, you will be given 5 minutes. The idea being the entire group does not come up and make the same type of statement. Please be sure to state your name and address for the record and fill out a card. Courtesy of the floor is meant to comment on items that are not on the agenda. Council will take all comments under advisement and have the appropriate officials get back to you if necessary. If you have materials for council, please distribute them to the clerk, who will provide them to us. Public comment during consideration of ordinances, resolutions, and motions is limited by topic. Your comments must be relevant. Council will not entertain personal insults or attacks, name calling, or other behavior that is inconsistent with the purpose of conducting official business. Please address council as a body. Refrain from using offensive language, cursing, and making noises while other people are speaking. Act with decorum. Remove your hat and turn cell phones off. Please be aware that comments or behavior in violation of these rules will result in a forfeiture of all remaining time, and you will be asked to return to your seat. Thank you. Mr. Hanlon.
I have Mary
This-
Tomlinson.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Mary Tomlinson for courtesy of the floor. Sworn to speak under public safety.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Mary Tomlinson. I'm a resident of Allentown. I actually had been hoping to speak earlier at the Public Safety Committee, but we didn't have any opportunity to do that. I don't know why, because I think there's usually public comment at committee meetings, but that didn't happen tonight. I wanted to comment, I'm one of the co-petitioners for the city's crisis response co-responder program. I wanted to comment about the Pine Brook Mental Health Liaison Program that's doing good work now with APD. Thank you to their staff, Elizabeth Flores and our colleague Janet, for doing co-responder work with our city's police department. I support the expansion of their work, their important work in diverting mentally ill people from police and incarceration. The Pine Brook program started in 2017. This year, fiscal year 2023-2024 is the first time it's had a written contract. I can attest it is very difficult to get information about this program, even though it is being evaluated by Cedar Crest College Center for Police Innovation and Community Engagement Program. Very difficult indeed. We do all know, however, the number of mentally ill people in our jail is increasing. We need to do more to prevent that problem here in Allentown. We appreciate any opportunity for further dialogue about public safety in our city and the needs of our community. 3,800 city residents signed our petition for help, not handcuffs, which was met with opposition from this administration rather than innovation, engagement, or transparency. We need to keep mentally ill people out of jail, and we need to work together better to do that. I hear my community saying, considering our needs, we're underserved. Do you hear that? We look forward to real engagement, collaboration, and innovation for the sake of our people. We also need more follow-up with the county crisis response program, as their services are very limited. Let's make Allentown a safer, healthier place to live. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dawn Shaw.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. President and members of City Council. I stand before you today to advocate for a cause that is not only close to my heart, but one that should resonate with all of us. Investing in the future. Oh, can I have 5 minutes? I'm sorry, I didn't say I'm with Community Action Development Corporation of Allentown.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I stand before you today to advocate for a cause that is not only close to my heart, but one that should resonate with all of us. Investing in the future of our city through the Allentown Youth Center. Community Action has been tirelessly working toward this project, and I urge you all to consider providing funding for this endeavor, including the demolition of the old Cleveland School building. It's an opportunity for the city to have skin in the game and to demonstrate its commitment to the well-being of the youth in Allentown. Our youth are our most valuable asset, and they hold the key to the future of our great city. But they need our support, guidance, and resources to thrive. The Youth Center is not just a building, it's a symbol of our collective commitment to our young people. By investing in this center, we're making a statement that Allentown cares about its youth and it is dedicated to providing them with opportunities for growth, education, and personal development. The old Cleveland School, a building with a rich history, stands as a reminder of our past. However, it is time for us to look forward and envision a brighter future for our children. The demolition of this old structure represents a clean slate, a fresh start, and an opportunity to build a state-of-the-art facility that will cater to the diverse needs and aspirations of our youth. Supporting a youth center is not just an investment, but a necessity. It will provide a safe and inclusive space for our youth to gather, learn, and grow. It will offer a variety of programs and activities that will keep our young people engaged and off the streets. Our young people learn differently today than they did when many of the youth facilities that exist now came into being. They need things that are more visible, that are tangible, that are just like the iPads and the phones, unfortunately, that they're very attached to. We need to redo how we teach our youth. The center will offer educational programs and skill development opportunities that will equip our youth with the tools they need to succeed in today's competitive world. It will be a hub for learning and personal growth. The center will foster a sense of community among our youth. It will bring together young people from diverse backgrounds and provide them with a sense of belonging and purpose. Investing in our youth and providing them with positive outlets can help reduce youth-related crime in our city. A thriving youth center can be a powerful deterrent to negative behaviors. A vibrant youth center can attract businesses, organizations, and families to our city, boosting the local economy and revitalizing our community.
By providing funding for this project, City Council has an opportunity to lead by example. It sends a clear message that the city is committed to the well-being and success of its young citizens. It shows that we are not only talking about investing in the future, but actively taking steps to make that happen. I understand that budget considerations are always a challenge, but investing in our youth is an investment in the future prosperity and vibrancy of Allentown. It is an investment in the well-being of our community as a whole. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Simpson?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Since Dawn just went before me, I think I'll try to see how I can make this a little bit more, less hurtful. It's been almost a year since we passed the money for the credible messengers. Almost a full calendar year. We've seen the ARPA money go to many different things. We've seen babies die. We've seen us argue. We've seen all kinds of things. But what we have not seen was the application of the money that was already voted on, passed by the city council. It's been almost a calendar year. Some of you guys are up for election in a couple weeks, so you won't even see the money that you actually passed get applied before you even go to election. It's disappointing. It's disappointing because we've seen the rise in murder, we've seen the rise in violent crime, unfortunately, since COVID. We've provided more police to the streets, but even our chief has said he needs support. What can we do? What will you do to make sure that our babies are more safe? If you're not gonna ever give the money to the credible messengers, since you said, even though we have already voted on it, at least give it to the youth that Dom's talking about. Do something that's proactive. We cannot continue to be reactive. And then we've done something that keeps the group that is the most vulnerable, 16 to 25, according to our state index, the most vulnerable to violence. We've decided during the Winter League, we're going to stop at 14U. So we now left thousands of kids again, unattended, uncared for, and uninvested in. Please, let's do better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Heather Feldhauer.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here tonight to stand before you. I don't have any comments. I have statements. And what I am asking is for some assistance and some help. First, my daughter passed away on September 15th at 4 o'clock in the morning in her house here in Allentown. I received a call on September 16th from the coroner's office, making me aware that they had my daughter. I was not allowed to identify her because they told me her boyfriend had identified her. So I did not get to see my daughter until I did her hair for the last time at the funeral parlor to prepare her for her service. Second of all, when I spoke to the detective that next day as well, he made me aware that they did find my daughter in a house that was vacant. There was nothing there but a bed. Her boyfriend was the one who was with her. I asked him where was my daughter's phone, where was her car. They told me they didn't know she didn't have any personal belongings. I told the detective, my daughter has a car. Not only was she riding around in one car, but there was another car as well. They did nothing about it. After hearing about my daughter's death at 8:44 in the morning, at 9:10, I was searching the streets of Allentown to find and recover my daughter's car myself. I recovered my daughter's one car. I then spoke to the detective and made him aware of the second car. I gave him the title number, I gave him the VIN number, and everything that is needed, and asked him to locate the car. There is no need for me to call PennDOT and have them track the car. If the detective at the scene was there, saw my daughter pronounced dead, there's no question. So why would I have to go to protocol to have PennDOT then put in for the car to be found? So as of today, this car is still on the streets. As I made them aware, my daughter's boyfriend had to be involved in some illegal stuff. I made the detective aware of this. I also made them aware if the second car is out here, it is most definitely transporting drugs. I will leave it up to everyone here to please go further. I have the autopsy report. I received it yesterday. And because of me trying to make sure that justice is not just done for my daughter, but that there is some kind of closure for me and something for other families, that this doesn't happen to them, I'm not gonna give all the facts here. The gentleman that is involved with everything, the police know him very well. They're buddies with him. The house that my daughter was found in is his mother's property. Now here we are. I have no answers in reference to my daughter. Here we are. I don't know where the second car is. Here we are. I am left with a 15-year-old to raise. I just got over having a liver transplant myself. And today, the detective did not want to work with me, who was there at the detective bureau, because today I went there myself. And just as I'm talking to you is how I represented myself there. I did not yell, I did not holler, I did not swear. I asked for questions. And I asked him if he can show me proof that this car was put in the computer to be located. His response to me was, the case is locked. Okay, I can understand it, but you can't tell me that there's nobody higher than the detective who worked on the case that could have opened up that information. I made him aware of evidence that my daughter left behind, of addresses. Still, here we are. In leaving, because he told me that there were 2 homicides last night and they're busy, I don't want to repeat what was said. They have been busy and had 2 new homicides last night. So they're trying to get to everything. My daughter passed away on September 15th, as I stated earlier. I'm not looking for everybody to stop doing what they're doing, but I'm asking for the 15 years that I've owned my home in the west end of Allentown, the taxes that I have put in, I'm asking for those taxes that pay to help me now in getting justice for my daughter. I would love for each and every one of you to look up my daughter's name, Juanita Harvey. No criminal records, worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield, Wells Fargo, GTL. She wasn't anybody, and even if she was, she still deserves justice. She paid taxes as well. She didn't live off the system. So all of us who are here, we're receiving the benefits of her labor. But she's no longer here. And what she paid into, she deserves back. And her daughter deserves to continue as a 10th grade student at Allen High School, has been on an honor roll all her life. She continues to do that. She deserves to do that in peace, knowing that her mother did not die and no one cared, but her grandmother. That's all I'm asking. So I'm hoping and I'm praying to the God that I know who sits high and looks low, that this too will be handled and we will get serious with the streets of Allentown and this drug business. And we will find out what is going on with this buddy system and these CIs and all this stuff that goes on there. No, I'm not privileged to know because I'm not a criminal. So I've never had a record to know what the relationship is with them. But I'm gonna tell you something. I thank God for wisdom and knowledge because what I'm seeing is not fair. The relationship that these CIs have with these cops, after I made them aware, 2 and 2 equals 4. And so what I'm asking you for is the money that we put in Allentown to make it work. Because that's why we're here. We're here. I moved my family here because I believed this was safe for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have Barbara Redmond on the investigation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Barbara Redmond. I'm the Secretary of the Allentown NACP and also the Assistant Secretary of the Pennsylvania State Conference NACP. I noticed that the investigation is not on the agenda, and I was wondering why it's not on the agenda this tonight. I feel like this is a very important investigation. It's related to the City of Allentown employees. They are being harassed and bullied, and also discriminated against. And I'm wondering, Mr. Hendrick, is it because your son is involved in the investigation as well, that you're trying to sweep this under the rug? We would like to know what is going on and why it's not brought to the forefront.
It is
I feel
scheduled
like-
for October 31st.
October
Meeting of the whole.
31st. And also, I feel like you should be removed from the investigation because your son is involved. I think it's a conflict of interest.
Well, you've been ill-informed. My son is not involved in it.
He is involved. We have the complaints. We know what's going on. We know who's involved. We have all the complaints, and your son, Christopher, is involved in complaints, and I think you need to be removed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have people that want to speak, but there are, just so you know, there are items on, that are coming up on the agenda. It's, Mr. Smith, Mr. Rob, and some more, and they would be on the Irving Park lease. And I have people brought on, street vacations.
Okay, yeah, keep in mind, if it's something that is on the agenda, then it should not be brought up at courtesy of the floor. But will be brought up at the time when those items come up on the agenda. Okay,
Sherlock?
Yes.
Ms. Moda?
Yes.
Napoli?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Henry?
yes,
Presents at the days, that's September 20th, 2023. I have Ms. Sherlock?
Yes.
Ms. Moda?
Yes.
Mr. Napoli?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
yes.
And Ms. Heckler?
Yes.
Presents at the
Okay, communications.
Notifications, I have it regarding Bill 87, authorizing an investigation.
And I also would like to disclose, if that's okay. So I would like to disclose that I had a conversation with Don Godshaw concerning using ARPA funds to support the youth center, and another conversation with Sherry Bender concerning using ARPA funds for affordable housing.
Okay.
Council President, I'll add a disclosure that outside a conversation with Dan Bosket related to the Cleveland Youth Center and the use of ARPA funds.
All right, thank you. Moving on to old business, is there anything for old business? Seeing none, we'll move on to committee reports. Committee of the Whole. The Committee of the Whole is scheduled for October 31st at 6 p.m., at which time to review Bill 87 authorizing the investigation. Budget and Finance. Chairman, Mr. Napoli.
Thank you, Council President Hendricks. Budget and Finance, we got a meeting this evening. Our next meeting is not yet scheduled.
Thank you. Community and Economic Development. Chairwoman, Ms. Moda.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee met this evening, and the next meeting is scheduled on October 18th at 5:40 p.m.
Thank you. Human Resources Administration Appointments. Chairwoman, Ms. Santos.
Thank you. This committee has not met since the last council meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for October 18th at 5:45 p.m.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation. Chairwoman, Ms. Gerlach.
Yes, thank you. We met this evening, and there is an agenda item that we'll be voting on. Thank you. The next meeting is October 18th at 5:30.
Thank you. Public Safety. Chairwoman, Ms. Affa.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee met this evening, the next meeting is not yet scheduled.
Thank you. Public Works. Chairman, Mr. Zuckel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Committee met this evening. The next meeting is scheduled for October 18th at 6:15, and we have one item on the agenda for later tonight.
Thank you. Rules Chambers, Intergovernmental Relations and Strategy. I am the chair of that committee. The committee has not met since the last council meeting. There are no future meetings scheduled at this time. We will move on to the Controller's Report. Mr. Glazer. good
Thank you,
evening.
Mr. President. I have a P card review for the month of June 2023. We reviewed 70 statements. The number of documents reviewed was 641. The total dollar amount was $230,159.98. The first issue I'd like to advise council about is in an expense split. We identified an invoice for an emergency pipe repair totaling $838.06. That was split between two programs. One was maintenance and one was administration. The controller recommended that the expense be solely charged to maintenance because that is typically where an expense like that would be charged to. The department was advised, and their response was, it is in the interest of both administration and maintenance to keep it open. Therefore, the funds were used from both accounts. It is appropriate to use both to accomplish exactly that. The controller vehemently disagrees with that. I note that the only reason it was split is because there was a limited amount of money left in the maintenance account in the maintenance department, in the maintenance program, and the department chose not to do what was proper, and was to make a transfer into that account. You know, all we can do is advise, but this is most assuredly very, very poor spending practice. We have a travel expense where a tip was calculated on the tax. City rules say the tip should be calculated pre-tax, and where the TER was not completed in a timely manner, the department has agreed to comply going forward. And we had 15 instances where an incorrect expense account was used, the departments were advised, and journal entries were completed in those cases. And that's my report this evening, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Glazer. We'll move on to the mayor's report. Mr. Mayor.
Good afternoon, good evening, Mr. President. Just wanted to do a couple of advisories on upcoming events that I thought council should be aware of, and hopefully we'll be able to attend. On Monday, October 9th at 10 a.m., we'll hold an awards ceremony for our Allentown Fire Department. may have heard about that during the public safety meeting, but I just want to reiterate the welcome to members of City Council to join us. That'll be at 10 a.m. at the new fire training facility on T Street. Again, 10 a.m. on October 9th, that's Monday. The other thing I wanted to make you aware of was an upcoming safety forum that is being held by the Allentown School District on October 10th at 5:30 p.m. at the 9th grade center at William Allen High School. The City of Allentown, in collaboration with the Allentown, the City of Allentown has been supporting the Allentown School District in their efforts to make their grounds safer for all, and we're actively collaborating with them on that public safety forum. So I think it's a good opportunity for members of council to engage with members of our school community. The other thing that I wanted to communicate to you was the ongoing collaboration with the administration of the Allentown School District related to Andre Reed Park. I think the last time that City Council had a meeting, and during the committee meeting of Parks and Recreation, there was some discussion around the conveyance of Andre Reed Park. At that time, I made a statement to media that the City of Allentown administration and the Department of Parks and Recreation is taking all effort, or making all effort, to serve the needs of the residents of the City of Allentown, particularly the east side, and the needs of the students at New York High School at Andre Reed Park. So that work continues. It's been ongoing. I think it preceded me being sworn in. It preceded Dr. Burks being confirmed as the superintendent of the Allentown School District. But I assure you that that work does continue. And I'll have a further update for you. I think you have something on the agenda related to a resolution. But I just wanted to let council know that that's consistent with our effort to support the Allentown School District in all things, to be an ally to the superintendent, to make sure that the work of the Allentown School District is as easy as possible in meeting the needs, as Ms. Gottschall spoke of earlier, of these critically important residents of the City of Allentown to our shared future. So that work continues in that capacity and in many others. That concludes my report. I can take any questions that council may have.
Just the award ceremony. I had thought it was originally scheduled for the charter.
Oh, thanks, that's right, it's a correct.
That
It'll be
changed
executive. No, you're correct. Yeah,
Oh, that's where it's being held at?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
it's still 10 o'clock, right?
Okay, thank you.
I hope to see you all
I have no
there.
other questions. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mr. Zuko?
Yeah, I guess one of the contentions was, one of the meeting last week was that, I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago, was that there was an issue with us leasing that field, which belongs to the city, of course,
Mhm.
to Deerfoot. Isn't it a fact that we actually lease property over off of Lancaster, if I recall correctly, over off of Lancaster Avenue from the school district for 99 years as well? So I'm not sure what the difference is, why there's a hangup with that.
That particular property,
No, with leasing.
we have lease agreements with a variety of different organizations.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm saying, we're talking about Deerfield here and the school district per se. So I'm not sure what the issue is with leasing the property to the school district on Deerfield, when in fact, we're leasing property from the school district and they haven't had a problem with us doing that, so I'm not sure what the problem is there. Maybe explain it.
I can speak to that. I don't know if it's more appropriate, Mr. President, for me to speak to that during the Parks and Rec committee in resolution.
Is that okay if we wait till that, when it comes up? Because I know there's some other people who want to speak.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move along. Ordinances for final passage.
Bill 70, amends the zoning map and zoning ordinance in the city of Allentown by rezoning certain parcels at 51 North Front Street, 115 Riverside Drive to be by urban commercial district. And it adds a text amendment to provide additional requirements for by properties. It provides an appealer clause, a severability clause, and an effective date.
Okay, any questions or comments by my colleagues?
I have a question.
Go ahead. Mr.
And I apologize if this was already covered in the CED, but, just to confirm, are these the parcels that the concern was that there was not going to be a buffer? Okay, so in skimming, I saw the word buffer, so I mean, is there now a buffer? Okay, so what will the impact, the anticipated impact be to the current residents of Front Street? Because that was also a conversation. Because typically, at least downtown, when there's development, they build kind of, you know, these self-isolated little developments, and the people who live in them just kind of stay there, they don't really venture out. So how will this be different?
In our discussions previously, I expressed concern about our residents being able to see and have easy access to the riverfront, as well as our emergency vehicles being sure that we had wide enough areas to be able to deliver emergency services. All of the issues that we discussed that the city had concern regarding these parcels are addressed in the text amendment. And we've come to an agreement with the developer that all of those needs have been met through this rezoning. The residents should be able to easily access the water, easily see the water. There is the buffer, and emergency vehicles will have a wide enough path to reach the area of the water to be able to fight fire or an emergency from the water side to the building side.
Okay, thank you. So, and to confirm, current Allentonians will be able to see the water and have access to the water from Front Street and from the first ward, not just the new folks coming.
I don't understand, the existing, yes.
Okay, no, because I remember we had that conversation offline after the meeting where, the concern was the Front Street folks who have been there forever, that they would have access to all this fancy development.
Yes,
Okay, just confirming. Thank you.
thank you.
And it passed favorably 2-0.
Okay, anybody else? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, Mr. Bennett, go to vote.
Mr. Napoli.
Yes.
Santos.
Yes.
Zuko.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Zappa.
Yes.
Sherlock.
Yes.
And Ms. Moda.
Yes.
President of the City Meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Hamlin. Bill 84.
Bill 84 amends the 2023 general fund budget to provide a supplemental appropriation of $312,000 from Safe Streets and Roads grant.
Thank you. And this was in your committee, Mr. Zuhl?
Yes, and it passed favorably, 3-0.
All right. Any questions, comments from my colleagues? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, Mr. Hamlin, conduct the vote.
Ms. Santos.
Yes.
Mr. Zuko.
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks.
Yes.
Zappa.
Yes.
Sherlock.
Yes.
Ms. Moda.
Yes.
And Mr. Napoli.
Yes.
President of the City Meeting.
Thank you. Bill 85.
If I could just add, thank council for approving that expenditure. It's critically important to the safety of our community. It's a priority of this administration, and particularly of Public Works. And after a year in 2022 where we saw traffic-related accidents claim the lives of 4 pedestrians, this is critically important funding for us. We're eager to launch this, particularly the assistance of the Public Works Committee to make Allentown streets safer for all. So thank you.
You're welcome. Any comments from the public on that? I'm sorry, we're on Bill 85.
Bill 85 amends the 2023 Fire Department budget to provide for supplemental appropriation of $39,073.63 from the Department of Homeland Security grant for the purchase of wellness and fitness equipment.
Thank you, Mr. Hamlin. This was in your committee, Ms. House?
Yes, and it passed favorably 2-0.
Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, Mr. Hamlin, please conduct the vote.
Mr. Zuko.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Zappa.
Yes.
Sherlock.
Yes.
Ms. Moda.
Yes.
Mr. Napoli.
Yes.
Santos.
Yes.
Mr. President of the City Meeting.
Thank you. Bill 86.
Bill 86 amends the Part 1 Administrative Legislation, Chapter 12 Authorities, Boards, and Commissions, Article 1 Board of Recreation by updating the language in the sections.
Thank you. And this was in your committee, Ms. Gerlach?
Yes, it was, and it was forwarded favorably to tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments, questions from my colleagues? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, Mr. Hanlon, please continue.
If I could, before you do vote, I think that it's appropriate to recognize the hard work done by the members of the Recreation Board to amend or to modernize the language related to this ordinance. I've pointed out often that the original ordinance was drafted in 1921. It referred to a lot of components of the city and of the city school district that no longer exist. And I'm really grateful to particularly the chair of the rec board, Becky Kiss, for the work that she did in leading her team in delivering more modern language that reflects the needs of our current Allentown. They did a phenomenal job. And I want to apologize to them for having this take as long as it did. This is on me for not getting this to you all quickly enough. I think that as Councilperson Gerlach saw in her committee, it's well written, it reflects the needs of our city for the future, and it's product of collaboration between city government and city residents, which is just a fantastic thing. So I commend you all to approve this legislation.
So noted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hanlon?
Okay, on the vote, Mr. Hendricks,
Yes.
Mr. Appa,
Yes.
Mr. Gerlach,
Yes.
Ms. Moda,
Yes.
Mr. Napoli,
Yes.
Ms. Sanchez,
Yes.
Mr. Zuko.
Yes.
The next set of yeas and 3 days.
Thank you, Mr. Hanlon.
87 is the bill that authorizes an investigation by an outside agency.
And I'll second that.
Okay, are there any questions or comments from my colleagues?
Was this the one that was scheduled for October
31st, yes.
Okay. Is there a reason we're moving this out of committee? Is that irregular?
I don't have that information. I only learned of this a short while ago.
I'll be making a second motion once we're done with this one, why we need to.
Yeah, from my end, the reason why I decided to make the motion is, it's of the utmost importance, you know, when there's any type of cloud hanging over a governmental body, let's just squash it. Waiting an entire month, I do recall, could be losing it here, but I do recall, at the previous meeting, we had discussed having a committee of the whole meeting on today, October 4th. The public, that was their understanding, here they are, my understanding. I don't know if anyone else had that understanding, but you had that understanding, you had that understanding. So today was supposed to be the committee of the whole meeting. We cannot continue to just push things and push things and push things. And especially something so important like an investigation. Let's just vote. We've had 2 executive sessions. We've had conversations between each other. We've had members of the public come here. I don't mean to be too frank, but we all know how you know how you're going to vote. You already know. So to pretend that you don't and think that there's more information that you need, let's just vote. We have solicitors here. We have the mayor here. If we got questions, let's ask them tonight. Let's get it done.
Yes, right.
And also the reason I asked, unfortunately I did miss an executive session due to a family member having COVID. So I thought we were good for October 31st. I didn't realize this was coming up tonight. But I just wish I didn't miss that meeting. That's all.
Any other comments? Questions from my colleagues? Any comments from the public?
Let's just do it.
Please save your comments to come up to the podium if you wish to speak. Thank you.
Before you start the clock, I would like to address the last 2 sessions or so, you and I have been the agenda, okay? Today, I'm gonna follow your rules, okay? And the only thing I ask is that you don't interrupt my 3 minutes. If you do interrupt my 3 minutes, those 3 minutes will start over. We have 1 minute. That's all I ask. I'm not here to attack, okay?
I will not, as long as you follow the guidelines, that's all.
So,
Please go up to the podium and speak
there's
into
an
the microphone, hard to hear.
investigation, there's an investigation that the public has been asked to start, okay? A lot of rumors have come up in reference to our mayor, okay? A lot. And as you uncover with the investigation, you're gonna see a corrupt organization, and you're gonna see corrupt nonprofits, you're gonna see a whole lot of corruption, okay? And as the picture starts to unwind, you start to get closer into this investigation, okay? Your name keeps popping up, Hendricks. The public is speaking to me. I'm not here speaking just on behalf of any of you. I'm here, I think you guys all know this by now, I'm speaking for a lot of Allentonians, okay? I think you know that by now, okay? And I'm not here to have you, I'm willing to sit down with you, and you, okay?
Please address me.
I am addressing you, okay? I'm addressing everybody in the room right now. You, sir, need to recuse yourself from this investigation completely, and you should be off the board. Your son is involved in this investigation. I have documentations. This is an accusation. I have documentation.
All right, let me make the matter clear.
Okay.
My son is not on the
You
police
don't know
department.
that. Then I'm not saying on the police department, I say he works for the city, correct? Yes. The city, I never said the police department. I said he works for the city. Is that yes or no answer?
This isn't an opportunity.
No, this is not a question.
So,
Yes,
You
but
said
I-
you're
but
gonna
I-
abide by the
so-
rule.
All right, so we got facts. We have facts. And what I'm asking, and the rest of the public is asking, is that you recuse yourself. It's time, okay? We expect this investigation to go through. I am not going away. I'm gonna be working with all you guys to change ordinances, to change laws, to change you getting out the way. I'm trying to find out how we can get to, how you got voted on, we gotta vote you off, okay? I'm trying to find, and I'm trying to educate myself in every way possible, okay? To get you off this board and to make sure our mayor gets indicted, okay? You need to go. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak?
This is on the motion to pull the bill from committee.
It's technically, just so that we're saying, it's a motion to recall, right? It's a motion to recall it from committee to bring it back to council.
All right, Pat Simpson, we're waiting on mine. I want to thank Councilwoman Gerlach for being here today. Like, we have no more time to waste. You know, it's too easy to push things down the line. It's too easy to allow things to unravel. It's too easy to allow ourselves to just act instead of actually taking action. So I ask this council to truly take an action. And thank you, Councilman Zoll, as well, for giving that second to Ms. Gerlach, so we don't have to wait till the end of the month. 3 more weeks is a long time. A lot can happen in 24 hours. 3 weeks, you know, so much can happen. So do something bold, please. Make a stand today. Thank you.
Is there anybody else?
Hi, my name is Karen Rapacia, and I just want to address this whole situation and just tell you how you guys all look to the public when you're just skipping this thing, just keep sweeping it up the rug and just don't want to address the issues. You really are showing us that we don't matter to you. Black and brown people have said these things. A lot of people are coming forward, and like Pat and like Eddie said, you become closer and closer to all of these things that are happening, and you keep dismissing us and dismissing us and dismissing us. Like, why? Let's just address the issue today. Let's address the issue today. Let's start this process. Let's move it along. Let's get it. Let's uncover it. Let's stop the jokes, the games, the behind the door scenes, the meetings, and all of the dinners and all of that stuff. Please, let's stop this. And let's get it moving and let's investigate. We need this to happen, like yesterday. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Good evening, Jessica Ortiz. The first time you guys had a meeting, my first concern was the staff. The staff that comes to my organization to say their grievances in a safe space, right? Right after the meeting, the next day that they showed up for work, it was the most tense situation for many of them. Then you go to work and then you see a newspaper article, well, that might have been an accusation because the real head was not the head, the letter was not authorized. So I come from, before I was the person I was today, I lived the world in the streets, right? So some of you guys are police officer. What it looks like to the common eye is that right now all the drugs are being flushed down the toilet before the warrant gets there. That's what it looks like to us. People go to work and they're scared for their jobs. These are their livelihoods. People put in a lot of days and hours working for the city. To say I'm proud and working towards a pension to be proud of the city. Today I was disheartened as I'm on a phone call with a city employee saying, please make sure you're there to voice for us today. It says now hiring. You can't welcome people in your house if your house is dirty. Before you get gas, you clean up. You gotta clean up. At least say, if nothing's true, then why would you stole it? If there's nothing to hide, if everything is transparent and there's no weight and everything is circumstantial, why not show the people who work for us in this building every day, all day, we care about you. We take your allegations seriously, and maybe you are going over the top. Some people are dramatic, maybe not. But why not give them that satisfaction to have their day? Everybody deserves to have a voice, and right now, you have them in a chokehold, but they still have to come to work because food is expensive. A pack of small hamburger costs $17 to feed a small family. How can they afford to take off because their day is hard? It's that serious. It's a hostile environment. It doesn't matter who's kid or not kid, we need to have if there's another solution, we'll come up with one. But like she said, a meeting after a meeting, I'm sure you guys know how you feel. Many of you have been doing this a long time. Think about how the people who are uncomfortable feel in this building and then go home. It's hard enough. I had 3 murders on my block last week. Some of the people who work in your building live on that block. Imagine the tension when you have to go to work tense, live in a tense neighborhood, live in a tense community. I think as an Allentonian, we all deserve the right to live in peace in our work, in our homes, and in our everyday lives. Please think about that.
Is there anybody else? Seeing no one. Mr. Handler, if we just repeat the bill and the motion.
Okay, this is on a motion to recall the bill from committee. Ms. Appa?
We can't hear you.
A yes? Is that a yes? Okay, a yes. Ms. Gerlach?
Yes.
Ms. Moda?
Yes.
Mr. Napoli?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Zuko?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. President, 7 yeas, no nays. First motion.
Thank you.
Mr.
Okay,
President, I'd like to make
the
a
bill will
motion.
go from committee. I'm sorry, you wanna?
Yeah, make a motion to suspend the rules and take a vote on tonight to pass the ordinance.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none.
Can I just offer, some legal analysis of what it is that Mr. Zuckel is, moving? So, there's a requirement that, agenda items, have 2 sponsors and be submitted 8 days, preceding the council meeting. This is coming on. Obviously, it got added, now, so we would have to suspend the rules. But I also want to point out that because this is happening, this is being added to the agenda on short notice, that we would have to disclose under the Sunshine Act the reasons for the changes to the agenda. So I just want to make sure that we follow the appropriate protocols. We're suspending the rules to add it to the agenda, and at the time that it's added to the agenda, that should be after disclosure as to reasons why. So I agree with you that the second, so we made one motion, but that motion number 2 would be to suspend the rules. I just wanted to add a little,
Yes. And so my,
information.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And so my disclosure for that is that I have been receiving phone calls that some of the victims / witnesses in the investigation are still being contacted by members of the administration. That doesn't mean the mayor's office. That could include department directors, supervisors, deputy directors, anybody. And So this is the reason this has to be, again, as Ms. Office says, this has to move forward.
Yes.
Stalling this is not gonna fix the problem. What's gonna come out is gonna come out, yes, or good or bad. But I would make a strong suggestion, as I did when I was a police officer, to people I was interviewing that had themselves backed into a corner, is to tell them, you guys are holding the shovel. Eventually, you're gonna dig yourself so deep that you're not gonna be able to get out of the hole. So, if you are intimidating these people, I would suggest that you stop, because that information is gonna be relayed to the investigator or investigating agencies, whoever that turns out to be. So, just a word to the wise. That's my disclosure reasons, thank you.
Okay, so we would have to, then, was there a second for the motion to suspend the rules?
There was, from Ms. Gerlach.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So now we would take comment from council.
Yes, I did ask for that. Any comments from my colleagues? Questions? Any comments from the public?
Council President, it might spare, I think it's important for us to hear the public, and we certainly heard the public back on September 20th, I think it was, and on September 6th. And we understand the feeling of the people. We understand Mr. Audiois talks about rumors. Much of what you hear is often a rumor. I would encourage you all to vote favorably for the initiation of that investigation. I know that there's certain challenges related to the performance of the investigation, but I think that you'll be able to navigate those challenges. And as I said, I think it was on September 6th, let's say it again tonight, that we in the administration, particularly in my mayor's office, welcome an investigation. I think that what you're going to find might not be what some folks are hoping to find. You're going to find an organization that's dedicated to fostering an environment of care and respect and inclusion and support in the city of Allentown. And you'll find an organization that is committed to the welfare of the employees of the city of Allentown, particularly insofar as they serve the needs of the residents of the city of Allentown. So I think it's important that you hear any additional comment from the public, but if it helps and if it helps everybody get home to their families tonight, I would just go ahead and offer from the administration's perspective that you just grab the vote right now and preferably vote 7-0 to initiate your investigation.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, no comments on this, so a vote on the motion to.
Okay, suspend the rules. Okay, the vote on that motion starts with Zappa again. Zappa.
Yes.
Ms. Gerlach.
Yes.
Ms. Moda.
Yes.
Mr. Napoli.
Yes.
Ms. Santos.
Yes.
Mr. Zuko.
Yes.
And Mr. Hendricks.
Yes.
Mr. President, 7 yeas, no nays.
Thank you, Mr. Henry.
Now, I think it's appropriate if the next step in this would be to just make a motion to add it to the agenda. You've already done your disclosures, but just to keep in the correct sequence.
Yes, and I'll make a motion to add it to tonight's agenda and to have a vote on it.
Motion made by Mr. Zukel,
I'll second.
seconded by Ms. Gerlach. All those in favor? indicate. Aye. Unanimous to do so. I should have asked for comments first, but I don't know that anybody needs to comment, or ever you wanted to. If you wish to, please come up.
Barbara Redmond with the Allentown and ACP. I just hope that the employees are not intimidated by their supervisors and bosses. I hope that I'm praying that they just leave the employees alone and let the employees speak freely and not to intimidate them and scare them in any way. So I'm hoping that you relate that to your employees, that they should be able to speak up and speak out and tell the truth, and there is not gonna be no retaliation against them for speaking the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, the vote was already taken. Is there another vote required, Mr.?
So what we've done is we've recalled it and sent it, pulled it from committee, and it's back in front of council. We suspended the rules and we added it to the agenda. So now the last piece of that would be to vote on Bill 87.
As it is placed on the agenda, to vote on the bill itself?
Yes, sir.
And do I have a motion to do so?
we need a motion for that?
I think so. Let's,
You already had the motion,
Well, we added it to the agenda, but let's.
yeah.
I'll make a motion to vote on it right now.
Yeah, I'll say.
Motion made by Ms. Gerlach, seconded by Mr. Zukel. Any comments or questions from my colleagues?
I just want to mention, over the years, I mean, I've employed over 300 people over the years. And the one thing that concerns me, and I want to make sure that it's heard, so that however we proceed, there are a lot of good people in City Hall, a lot of good staff, a lot of good workers. And I just fear that something like this and what's being said, some of the things that are being said and thrown around could affect a lot of folks that did nothing wrong. They came to work, worked their tails off, served residents. So while there may be some issues, may or may not be, we don't know, I think there are a lot of folks that are working in City Hall that are serving residents. And I just want to make sure that this process, wherever we go forward, I just want to make sure that we don't do anything to put them in a position where we lower morale. And when morale's lowered, I mean, I know this from employing people, employing folks. I mean, when morale's low, they leave. And I just don't want to see that in the city of Allentown. We have a lot of good folks here. I just want to make sure that we proceed in a way, again, that doesn't disrupt the entire organization. That's just my thought.
The only thing I would just comment on that is that someone that hasn't done anything wrong has no reason to leave.
Of course.
And I think there are a lot of good workers here.
I'm just saying that, sometimes it's just, again, being as an employer, I mean, sometimes things can go sideways without it, you didn't intend it to. That's all. I just want to make sure we proceed with caution, because there are a lot of good folks here. And I just want to make sure that they're protected, just like the people we're trying to protect with this bill. So that's all I'm saying. I'm trying to protect everybody. But I just want to at least mention that.
Okay, Ms. Gerlach?
Sorry.
Point of clarification, I might need to withhold my comments, so this is just the motion to vote on this now, not on the actual bill
No,
itself?
I think this is the
No,
vote
this
on
is
the
the
bill.
bill.
To vote on the bill,
Yeah,
okay,
this
then
would be the fourth piece, this is the actual vote.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay, then I will go ahead and make my comments. Even though it looks like, hopefully everyone will vote yes, especially with the encouragement of the mayor, I'm sure anyone who had fears will now hopefully vote yes. But if one of your concerns, we've been under the impression, I think, the last meeting that we discussed this, the city solicitor had mentioned that, it might be hard for an investigator to get access to personnel files and, confidential information. And then the concern is, well, how does an investigator investigate if one cannot interview or get access to confidential information? But luckily, I have the invoices from our HR consultant. He has access to confidential information and personnel files. He does investigations and he also interviews employees, and he is not a city employee, he is a consultant. So seems like they figured something out. I read the contract with the HR consultant, and there's a clause in there about confidentiality. So I would assume that an investigator who we would hire would also have those same parameters. So just wanted to bring that up to alleviate any fear that may exist. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments?
I'm just hoping that after this investigation, we can move the city forward, because to be honest, this is, it's really hard on everyone. So let's do this, and let's do it right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the public?
And if I may offer a comment to Mr. Napoli's concerns, and I think that is something that I believe it was maybe Ms. Ortiz mentioned the morale in City Hall. So we are right now at the lowest level of vacancy that I've seen since my administration started. So there is a strong desire to work for the city of Allentown. On Monday, I welcomed 6 new employees, 2 bilingual clerks to our building standards and safety department, a maintenance worker part-time for our parks department, and a part-time animal control officer, for the, recycling and solid waste department, a streets employee. We're seeing people come in, people truly do want to work for the city of Allentown. We're making small improvements along the way over the 19 or 20 months or so that I'm in office, largely with the support of the members of City Council. So I truly appreciate the work that City Council does to help us to make this a better place to work through passing legislation like the Parental Medical Leave Act that was passed, I believe, in February of 2022. This is a good place to work, and when and if, or however City Council chooses to perform its investigation of the environment in the administration, we'll do everything that we can to support the work of City Council, because we're really confident that the findings of the investigation are going to show the work that we've done and give you a level of confidence that this administration is doing the right thing and that the city employees are in good hands and that the public purse is well tended to. So again, not sure how much additional comment you'll need to proceed with a vote for investigation, but I do want to dispel some of the idea that this is a place of low morale right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very quick, I never thought
No.
it was, I don't think it's low morale now. I just want to make sure this investigation doesn't inadvertently create low morale. That was more my point.
Yeah, I mean, and to Mr. Napoli's point, and I speak with many of our employees, I would offer that there are a good number of employees who would like to see this cloud, I think, Mr. Simpson used the word, would like to see this go away through an investigation. Because it just, again, there's what some folks think they're going to find, they're not gonna find. So this does potentially dispel some of that. And then we can get on to the work that Vice President Mota mentioned of moving this city forward, which I encourage council to continue to focus on. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Allen. You will
Okay,
conduct
this is
the
a
vote.
vote on, Bill 87. Ms. Appa?
Yes.
Ms. Gerlach?
Yes.
Ms. Moda?
Yes.
Mr. Napoli?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Zuko?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
President, 78 is
Thank you, Mr. Henley. Moving on to R162.
Okay, 162 is a consent agenda item, and all it does is attest that there is capacity for the development at 827, 829 West Main.
Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, Mr. Henley, please conduct the vote.
Ms. Gerlach?
Yes.
Ms. Moda?
Yes.
Mr. Napoli?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Zuko?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
President, 78 is
Thank you. Moving on to resolutions for final passage. R161.
R61 is for the denial of a certificate of appropriateness at 327 North Chicago Street.
Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none. Any comments from the public? Seeing none. Mr. Hamlin?
Ms. Moda?
Yes.
Mr. Napoli?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Zuko?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Ms. Zappa?
Yes.
And Ms. Gerlach?
Yes.
President, 78 is
Thank you. R163.
R163 names the dog park at Dixon Street Judge Memorial Dog Park.
And perhaps the fire chief would like to speak to this. I would just say we had hoped to have the dog here this evening. The dog is not in good shape, and just the trip here would have been very difficult. I'll allow the chief to explain more about the dog and the history of the dog and its service to the citizens of the city of Allentown. Chief Augusta.
Good evening. I can't really speak a whole lot to the history of Judge. I know from my dealings with him throughout my career as a fire marshal, as an assistant chief of fire prevention, while Judge was actually a part of this organization. I know that if Lee can be here and speak to it, obviously he was informed that he is in poor health and he may not be with us much longer. W. Evans, he did a great story on him, so did Leah Valley Live. They did some stories on him as of recently. He definitely was a catalyst in fire prevention and fire investigations. He was used throughout the entire area for many years during his career. There was a time where arson cases appeared to be rising in the city, and just the mere appearance of him being a part of this organization lessened that almost instantaneously. That has been proven through all the records that are shown throughout his career. His ability to be around individuals and children, and probably the calmest dog that I've ever known. His ability to detect those things that are considered to be ignitable substances, you know, anything that dog was taught to be able to detect was an amazing thing to watch. Some of the demonstrations that Lee would put him through was impressive to see how he, and I'm not sure if any of you were able to witness that, but it was impressive to see him put the several cans throughout the area, and him being able to go from one to one to one, and then all of a sudden find that one where an accelerant, just a drop of an accelerant was dropped into. So I wish that Lee was here to be able to speak a little bit more to his demeanor, not only as an arson detection dog, but also as a team member of the Allentown Fire Department to assist with being able to prevent fires here throughout the city and throughout the entire area, because there were times where he would be requested outside of our jurisdiction, and that's where he became very useful. And he made a name for himself. And he's recognizable throughout the city. He had his own Facebook page. You're more than welcome to visit it, and you'll find out more about him. He will be missed. There's no doubt about it. He's been missed since he was gone as part of the Allentown Fire Department. Every so often, Lee would bring him around for us to be able to still get to see him again. So that was always a big plus for us. But as of late, obviously, he's just, he's in poor health. And you know what, 14.5 years for a lab is a really, really good long life. And for the type of work that dog was doing is even more so, which was very impressive. But that is what I can provide.
Well, thank you very much for that. Needless to say, he was a great ambassador for the city of Allentown and to the whole area because of his services that he provided for us and also to other departments close by. Absolutely.
Several years ago, actually, he was the #1 in the entire country, the #1 dog. He could, I believe it was 60-some accelerants that he could identify. I didn't even know he could start a fire with 63 different kinds of, and there is no other dog that can do that. And he was on Disney Channel, and they picked like 7 dogs out of the country for different various things. And I remember seeing this Chief Alabak and seeing Allentown in the background, and Judge coming up with his medal that he had won. And he didn't make Dog of the Year. A dog named Hooch, if anybody ever saw that movie, won because that dog helped a veteran. And Hooch, a friend here in a building, and he was smelling for accelerants and everything like that, and he started walking toward the door. So the chief followed him, and he opened the door, and the dog went out. And he walked like a block and a half, right to the door, the person who started the fire. And he was just an amazing dog, and I was proud to be at his retirement party. But what you said, Chief, is just amazing that he's our firefighter. He was the best, #1 in the country. We're gonna miss you, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Affa. Anybody else? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, Mr. Hanlon, please
On
stand
the
up.
resolution, Mr. Napoli.
Yes.
Ms. Santos.
Yes.
Mr. Zuko.
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Ms. Zappa?
Yes.
Ms. Gerlach?
Yes.
And Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Hanlon. R-164.
R-164 approves 3 transfers, $35,270 in traffic planning by transferring funds from account 46-268, the weight-bearing sign installation, originally budgeted for an outside contract to be done in-house. 68 is the proper account. $14,525 in Parks and Rec, Golf Course Capital Fund budget for 5246 account for improvements to the agronomics of the soil, and 3 is $14,355.72 in Parks and Rec. Jordan skateboard project for the 72 to the 46 account. The cost for the lights was less than expected. Funds are transferred for phase 2 of the construction.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none. Any comments from the public? Seeing none. Mr. Hanlon, please conduct the vote.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Ducal?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Ms. Zappa?
Yes.
Ms. Gerlach?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
And Mr. Patrick?
Yes.
Right, that's 7 yeas and no nays.
Thank you, Mr. Hanlon. R-165.
R-165 approves the transfer of $30,000 in human resources from account 04 temporary wages to account 46 other contract services to cover additional costs for the HR consultant that was not voted.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Ms. Gerlach?
Yes, I didn't see it, will the addendum that covers the gentleman's, lodging and travel and food be added to this R-165? Do we get a vote on that, or was it just kind of added?
Gary Ritter. So the addendum has been reviewed by finance and by Jeff Laker's group, and we're not going to execute that addendum as it is at this time. Then we need to work on that. There's some things that we need to clean up.
Okay, thank you. Is that what this 30,000 is for? No, this is for.
30,000 is to get us essentially through the end of the year if needed be.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so, all right, so this invoice is from September 7th. He did some planning and zoning work. I'm guessing this one hasn't been paid.
That one will be paid. We've processed invoices through August 31st. There will be another coming for September.
And perhaps it's great that we have him, because it looks like, I looked at his resume and, oh, he seems to know a lot about CED and development and zoning.
He's critical. He's critical to HR and the operation of HR and the support that's needed.
So is he a consultant for HR or CED?
He's a consultant for HR.
Okay.
If you're referring to the work that was done for zoning and planning, that was to create tests for applicants. And HR's function in bringing on new hires is often to assist the bureaus in testing. And so that was the consultant's role in that.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay. So I was under the impression that this gentleman was like an HR expert, but when I looked at his resume, I had a hard time finding that certification or HR expertise. Would you please help guide me as to where I'm just missing it? Again, he's obviously an expert when it comes to CED items, but I'm just missing where his expertise is in HR.
Do you have a copy of his resume?
I do, yes.
Okay. Quite honestly, I think, and maybe the mayor can answer a little more about this, I was obviously not on board in HR when he was
So the Mr. Tran's experience in strategic solutions draws on a multitude of experiences serving municipal governments. So as you're familiar, I'm sure, when you serve in a municipal government, you wear a lot of different hats. Mr. Tran's legal experience is where he draws on HR. So he has demonstrated expertise working with municipalities across Pennsylvania to resolve labor situations, to provide HR guidance. He's drawing from a host of experiences there. I don't believe he has his SHRM, but that's certainly not a qualification for the work that we're asking him to do.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mr. Zook?
And I don't know, Mr. Ritter, if you can answer this or not. The addendum, obviously, it's my, information that, this gentleman wrote that himself, correct? He came up with that addendum himself,
That
the
is
format of
correct.
it?
That is correct.
And do you know, if not, maybe Miss O'Neill knows, did he write his original contract that we hired him for originally? Do you know?
His sole firm is Strategic Solutions LLC. So he drafted that contract and presented it as a proposal to the city of Allentown, which you all saw and voted on and accepted.
It gets vetted through our contracts.
Right, but he wrote his own contract basically, is that fair enough?
Yeah.
We agreed to it, but, okay, all right, thanks.
Okay. Any?
Very quickly, first off, thanks for stepping up and helping out with HR. I think this is really important. I mean, HR touches every corner of this building, and making sure we serve all our employees is instrumental. So I'm happy to see you step up and also to continue working with this gentleman to kind of to bring that to all our staff. So I just wanted to say that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Gerlach?
Just, should I be concerned that he does have access to personnel information? He's handling grievances. I've seen a number of times in his various ordinances that he submitted, he's handling some type of investigation with APD. Should we be concerned that an outside person has this information?
Personally, in my experience working with John, he is a consummate professional.
I know that
Yeah.
we were just under the impression that that wasn't supposed to happen. That in general,
I hear what you're
that
asking.
outside folks weren't supposed to.
Well, that's not actually, so when we have, through our law department, hired professionals to conduct personnel investigations. Sometimes we do go outside, but they are subject to the terms of a contract that they do sign with us. And as you yourself pointed out, he's subject to confidentiality as defined in his contract.
Oh, wonderful. So it is possible to have an outside entity come in and get access to confidential information as long as they sign something. Thank you for clarifying that.
Okay, any comments from the public? Seeing none, Mr. Hanlon, please conduct the vote.
Mr. Zuko?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Ms. Zappa?
Yes.
Ms. Gerlach?
Yes.
Ms. Moda?
Yes.
Mr. Napoli?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, moving on to ordinances for introduction. Bill 88.
Bill 88 provides for the vacation of Susquehanna Street from center line of South 7th Street to center line of South Virginia Street in the 12th Ward of the city of Allentown.
Thank you, Mr. Hanlon. All right, this one was just missed, as I understand, on a previous vote. Is that correct, Mr. Hanlon?
No, so there's just a request by the commissioner to introduce and vote on this tonight because it has a closing coming up. Maybe Mr. Shada could speak to it.
This street vacation here is for an open section of West Susquehanna Street. That's between South 7th and Virginia Street. Essentially what this vacation does is it allows for the development for the Cumberland Street apartment complex project to go through. So from what we understand is that the developer's under a tight timeline to make this happen. So that's why we're before you tonight to introduce and ask for a vote tonight.
Okay.
That's with full support of the administration.
Okay. Questions, comments,
I
Mr.
just
Zuber?
want, Mr. President, was there any opposition from any of the residents in that area?
No, sir,
Okay,
no opposition, and the utilities also responded with no objections.
okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
We have a person that wants to speak to it.
Oh, I'm sorry, so. Comments from the public, please do.
117.
I believe it's 11/27. I have paperwork here, and I understand it should be split. If the city's vacating the property, it should be split between the neighbors. This is my first, hearing the board about this, so, I oppose against giving it up for, building behind to have access. I'm opposed to just split it equally if the city's vacating the property.
Just so I understand your comment, you're in favor if it's split equally and is that what you're
Yeah, I
suggesting?
don't want the city to give up rights for an entrance for development. I know when the city vacates, it should be split evenly between the neighbors,
Okay.
adjoining neighbors.
Right. So your comment as the parcel owner is essentially that you wanna make sure you're getting your half.
Correct. Well,
Is that my hearing you right?
well, it should be split, if the city's vacating the property, it should be split equally to the adjoining neighbors.
I have no agenda, I'm just trying to understand the comment.
You wanna see the paperwork property border is?
No, but I don't know if, Mr. Shada, can you speak to that? I'm not sure.
No, sir, typically in these situations, anytime a parcel of land is being vacated, that's when the property owners, the adjoining property owners are polled, and then at that point in time, they would have an opportunity to express concern. When the poll was conducted, there was no objections.
And if I could add, when the city vacates a street, so say it's Paper Street, the street gets vacated along the center line and the adjoining property owners receive that property. So it would split down the center line, and anything to the left would go to the property on the left, and anything on the right would go to the property on the right.
Correct.
So I believe what you're saying is you own property adjoining this?
Yes.
On the other side?
Yep. And the property around where the development, I guess, anticipates going, it's untaken care of. There's overgrown trees, weeds. I had property in the city of Allentown, and, they gave me fines to sweep, gave me fines for little weeds growing up. This property has overgrown trees, dilapidated fence that's fallen over on my property. I just bought this property on,
All right, let's try to stick to this property.
yeah, I did, 1125 South 7th. I bought it July 21st. And the alley that's being vacated, it has been overgrown with weeds and shrubs. So I personally bought weed killer. I went in there, cleared the alley, made sure it's not overgrown, taken care of. I cleaned my property up. Again, the city, or the property behind, it's untaken care of.
Maintained it, okay.
Yeah, nobody really maintains that. And I just bought July 21st, 2023, and I cleared everything up, tried to take care of it.
So just so you know, it's an unopened street, and it's been unopened for more than 21 years, so you can see the pictures. It's like you said, it's
Yeah, I
just
have-
a property.
Yeah.
Speak to it on the neighbor. I can give you all the information you need.
You certainly may, I just,
I'm the developer back in the solution.
This is being referred to public works. You made it correct.
No, there's a request that it's
yeah, the
voted on
request
tonight.
to vote on.
And that would require 6 out of 7 to do that, because you're expediting the 14 days, just to be clear. Yeah, so you need 6 out of 7 in order to proceed.
So the first vote is to suspend the rules.
So,
It's not
just so
a-
you know, that's already attached to the ordinance, so it's already attached to the ordinance. It says upon approval of 6 or 7 votes, this goes into effect of the year. But I guess Mr. Khan is here.
to speak to it.
If I may speak to this.
Is there any way you can get this on the screen, the map? It might just help it for everyone.
In the meantime, you may speak,
Mr. President.
state your name and your address.
My name is Yasin Khan. I live in Allentown, 2324 Woodland Drive, Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I'm the developer of 6 in Cumberland. The goal here is to have that street split equally among the neighbors. We're not looking for any kind of access from that side. It's basically, it will be part of that project where the parking would be. There's no access, so we're not looking for any kind of entrance from there. So entrance is already determined, and basically the street will be split among all the neighbors equally.
So I guess the question is, that said, the gentleman who spoke about having to, he would have that
Yes.
portion of it?
Yes, technically, because these paper streets were never open
Okay,
in
so-
21 years, they could petition Orphans Court for adverse possession, which basically means the property rights go back. This just cleans it all up so that the lot lines are consolidated and this land is.
Okay, so in essence, what he's asking for would be
Yes.
honored by
Yes.
this vote tonight to do.
Yes.
Would satisfy both
Yes.
parties here. You're agreeable to that?
Is it, so it's split within the three neighbors, correct? I can show you on the. So here's actually.
Is that really the 3 neighbors?
Yeah.
So here's mine, here's South 7th Street, it's a dead end, this is the property they're vacating. So,
50% would go here, 50% would go there.
well, somebody else owns this one.
Okay, then.
He owns this one.
Right,
And
so-
I own this corner.
So it would get split along the center line,
Yep.
go there.
For 40
and then
years, I could
Back
probably.
here,
Yep.
and maybe forward here.
Correct.
Yes.
That's good.
Now,
Just your presence here is
with
good.
this being split, does that have to get resurveyed and a new deed drawn up? Who's responsible for all that?
George?
Did you get a letter?
It's technically their property. It's technically their property.
You don't have.
We only have right of way.
But if it's getting
Because we
vacated,
never opened up the road, it's getting vacated.
right, but then if it's being split within the owners, it should be drawn up as a new deed, being that we own part of that alley that's being vacated.
I can't speak to what your deed says, so I don't know what needs to be drawn or doesn't need to be drawn up, but it's a street that was never open. The city had a right of way, they didn't own that section of property.
Technically,
we just take over.
You would own it.
Okay, but if I, plan to do something there, my property line doesn't show that in the recorded deed. So if I take over a parcel of that alley, it should be drawn up under a new deed.
Well, that's something you could do with this ordinance. You could
Right,
go
that's
see
what
a
I mean,
civil
yeah,
engineer.
so once I
But
go-
the city's not gonna
Right,
present,
but
do a new
once
meets
it's-
and bounds for it.
Yeah, once it gets approved, being vacated, then I go to the city and say, hey, I need a new deed drawn up.
Well, the city's
based
not
on the
gonna,
lot.
I think you would hire a civil engineer, you would present them with your deed, and you present them with the ordinance, and describe what happened, and have them do a new meets and bounds description for you, but I don't think that the city, and correct me if I'm wrong, George, the city's not gonna do a new legal description for his lot after this road is essentially
Yeah,
vacated.
that's fine, as long, yeah, I can do that on my cost, but as long as the city would understand that would be part of my property.
Yes.
I think the city's acknowledged that, so.
Right.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think you're all right.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Okay, is that clear?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. That was
Yeah, go ahead, Ricky.
Somebody else wants to?
Yeah, just one of the other parcel owners.
Good evening, Mr. President. My name is David Roth. I live at 1117 South 7th Street. I am the adjoining property to Mr. Khan's property. I represent my mother, who has lived in that house for 42 years. The street that is being vacated, Susquehanna Street, was never a street. It was a piece of property. The previous owner made an agreement sometime in the late 70s or early 80s where the city gave up the rights to the street. So at some point, he fenced the property in. There was never any vacation done by the city. It was rights given up by the city. The dilapidated fence is yours. It's on your property, built by the previous owner. Welcome to the neighborhood, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know where my.
1125, the other adjoining property is 1204. Those are the two properties being split. 1125 South 7th Street and 1204 South 7th Street. What is being split is Susquehanna Street. The back alley, Virginia Street, will all be owned by Mr. Khan. With his new development plan, the other half comes to my mother's property. I have worked with Mr. Khan through the Planning Commission and all of those meetings. He has our full support. We are the property that has been most effective. He has worked very well with us. We discussed fencing, we discussed trees, noise levels being built between us, and he has our full support. So I appreciate the time. Thank you.
I thank you for your comments. I'll clear it up. Okay, Mr. Hanlon.
Okay, on the bill and upon approval of 6 of 7 council people, you will get rid of 14-day period. Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Ms. Appa?
Yes.
Ms. Gerlach?
Yes.
Ms. Moda?
Yes.
Mr. Napoli?
Yes.
Ms. Sandra?
Yes.
Mr. Zuko?
Yes.
Mr. President, 7 yeas and no nays.
Thank you. Bill 89.
Bill 90. Bill 90 amends the 2023 capital fund budget to provide for a supplemental appropriation of $650,000 from the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources to support design and construction of the D&L trails, the Allentown segment.
Okay. Pretty obvious. Any comments, questions from our colleagues regarding this? Any comments from the public?
Yeah, no, what you did have Bill 89. Bill 89 provides for the vacation of North Maxwell Street from the center line of East Turner Street to the center line of East Linden Street.
Okay. This will go to, oh, we're voting on this tonight, Mike?
Oh, no.
No. Okay, so this will go to your committee, Mr. Zuko?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Bill 90.
Bill 90 provides for a amendment to the 2023 capital fund budget to provide for a supplemental appropriation of $650,000 for the Allentown segment of the D&L trail.
Okay, and this will go to your committee, Ms. Gerlach.
Thank you.
Parks and Recreation. Thank you.
Public comment.
Is there any public comment on Bill 90? You'll have a chance to do so down the road. Okay, moving on to Bill 91.
Bill 91 amends the 2023 capital fund budget to provide for a $275,000 money from the ARPA funds to the repair of the Dixon Street pedestrian bridge.
Okay. This will also go to your committee, Ms. Gerlach.
Yes, and I do look forward to the conversation, but in terms of when it will be handled, it will be handled during the budget season, like the other ARPA items.
Okay.
Thank you.
I do want to, so council did receive 3 letters from South Mountain Middle School, from Dodd Elementary School Principal, and from Deer High School regarding public safety associated with the bridge crossing.
Yes, I saw that. Any comments from the public? This again will have the opportunity at the time of the committee meeting. Seeing none. Bill 92.
Bill 92 corrects a legislation that was previously passed, placing funds into the appropriate accounts. the bill will reverse ordinance 15886 and appropriate the ARPA money allocated for HTC Mid-Atlantic project to the correct expense account.
Thank you, Mr. Hanlon. This will go to your committee. Ms. Moda,
Thank you, Mr. President.
any comments from the public?
If I could offer one comment. First, I want to take a moment to again thank the members of council that attended the groundbreaking for the 1528 project and reiterate my gratitude voiced at the event to the council for understanding the urgency of the housing crisis in the city of Allentown and making appropriate investments in housing for residents here in the city of Allentown. I want to make sure that was appropriately conveyed and and again, taking the extra opportunities to thank you all for your investments in housing in the city of Allentown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolutions for introduction. There is one, R-166.
R-166 recommends the administration partner with the Allentown School District on the development and upgrades to Underwood Park by exploring all options related to the park and school district interests.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson. And this will go to your committee?
I have some speakers for this.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I have some comments.
Yes. I'll move to the comments. Read the names. Good evening, sir.
Mr. President, City Council, my name is Barry Robb. I've been playing sports down at Irving Park since 1961, and I still are playing down here. And the reason why I'm here for the voice of all the kids that are playing down at Irving Park right now. That rumors are being spread around that Durham High does not have a football field, and they want to buy the field from the city for $1 for 100 years and give them $100. And I'm here to tell all you people, including the mayor, that Durham High has 2 football fields. And where I had a city person yesterday named Laura Balak Cole, and we went over and we seen the football field behind the fire station. And I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but they've been playing over there for 30 years. And as of 2019, that field got condemned, because I used to be over there with the football players. There's holes in the ground and everything like that. From what I hear, St. Luke's wants to give Durham a ton of money. It's political, because the other hospital gave Lincoln not executive money, and now Durham wants to get this money. And I said to the athletic director at Durham, I said, hey, if you're getting all this money, go fix it's condemned. Don't get me wrong, it's condemned. But it has a track and field, it has a building with weight room, it has fenced all around, and the field is bigger than Irving Park. And this Laura said to me, I can't believe this field. I said, all they gotta do is fix it up. But the key is, St. Luke's doesn't wanna put the money in this field. They wanna dig up the Irving Park field and make it AstroTurf. And what they wanna do is fly their big flag. This is St. Luke's facility advertisement. I said, well, why don't they flag it over there? Well, nobody will see it over there. See, it's secluded in the back. And I say this, here's the second field that Durham can play at. Irving Park, the grass field. I just drove by there, nobody's there. Do you wanna hear the best? They play there June, July, and August, every day in the summer, because of the shade tree. They don't go back to Keck Park. Come September, they're told they're not allowed to play down at the park, that they gotta take school buses and take these kids back to Keck Park. The coaches are against it. They're saying, why can't we play here? They're not allowed. I don't know who's calling the shots at Durham. They're not allowed. What they're ringing up is a big bill to show to the school district, look at this is why we need a field. Because look at this, look at all the money we're spending on buses. You should have seen the buses, not school buses. Last year when they took the buses, you should have seen the buses. You think the Philadelphia Eagles were going back to Keck Park. They were like big casino buses. You want to hear the best? When these buses don't show up, and they don't show up a lot, do you know where Durham practices? Right at Irving Park. They're not allowed to play there. What is wrong? If they can do that when the buses don't show up, why can't they do it when the buses do Why do they need the buses? Why must they go back to Keck Park and play back here? They wanna play, the coaches wanna play down here. I talked to coaches today, they say, we wish they would fix that field up over behind the fire station, because that was great for us. We did that for 30 years. And the recreation department does such a great job down there fixing the fields and everything. I'm gonna name 2 people, namely from the recreation department. Tom Rezick, head of maintenance, and Chris Henricks does so much for our park. And I'm just begging this city not to give this park to Deeroff, because what they're gonna do, they're gonna put that field in and put a big fence around, and nobody's gonna be able to play at that park no more. Think about it.
I can assure you that myself and my colleagues will be looking at this thoroughly.
You better look at it thoroughly, because I'll tell you what, somebody's pulling a lot of wool over somebody's eyes, you know what I mean? And they can play at that park. They've been playing there for 30 years.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, we got, Yvette Demore.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Yvette Demore. I live at 750 North Irving Street, and I'm here to talk about the proposed long-term lease of Andre Reed Park to make an athletic facility for Deer High School. I have a real concern that this proposal is moving way too fast, and no one is interested in the opinions of the stakeholders like me, who live in the shadow of the park. I literally can throw stones from my yard to the park. In haste to give well-deserved equity to Deer High School athletics, there is a danger of creating an inequality within the community. Taking about 2/3 of Andre Reed away from the community will force children to look elsewhere for green spaces. The nearest parks are Keck and Midway Manor. Both require children to cross dangerous main roads, Hanover Avenue and Union Boulevard. How is that fair to them? You want your little kids running across that street? I don't think so. Why is Allentown School District not considering the remediation of the Deer High School practice field? The field is located at the corner of North Hart and East Tillman Streets, not far from the high school. Currently, it lays fallow with gophers running the show. Why can't the district remediate that tract of land and solve 2 problems at once? A new athletic facility and turning the brown space into green. And then my thoughts go to all the local youth organizations that use Andre Reed Park. My boys play soccer for Midway Manor. Andre Reed is their home field this season. Allentown Youth Soccer has played at Andre Reed. And in the past, ESYC had teams play soccer and baseball at Andre Reed. The proposal leaves these organizations without fields, once again creating an inequality for the community. My boys have lived on the east side all their lives. They're 13. They have played at Irving Street Playground, watched the park change, watched new play equipment be brought in, and the old taken out when it became Andre Reed. They were really excited. They play there every day all summer. It keeps them out of trouble. It keeps the community neighborhood kids out of trouble. They have someplace to go. They go there and they play sports with their friends. Next year, my boys will be freshmen at Deer High School. Would I love to let them have this facility? Would I love to see it for them? I would, but not at the expense of the community. That's not fair to everyone else. I'm just not willing to pay that price. All the children in my neighborhood need a park to be accessible to them and open to them. Please slow this down. Please take the time to present with the proposal, the community. Present it to the community. Let us have our say. Let us discuss this. We might actually come up with a better solution than just keep up or remediate this. There might be a middle ground we can all find together. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have Thomas Smith.
Good evening, Council President, ladies and gentlemen of the City Council. I'm here tonight representing Allentown City School District. My name is Thomas Smith. I'm the Executive Director of facilities for Allentown School District. The Allentown School District would like to propose a partnership between the school district and the city of Allentown to address the pressing need for improvements to Andre Reed Park. This historic park has been a vital resource for ASD students and the entire Allentown community for generations, providing valuable space for recreation and athletics. ASD is enthusiastic about the prospect of collaborating with the city to explore viable options for revitalizing Andre Reed Park to better serve the needs of our community and its children. We firmly believe that every child deserves access to a fun and safe place to play where they can cultivate a sense of belonging and engage in activities that promote their well-being and personal development. Research consistently demonstrates the countless benefits of sports and physical activities for children. When children participate in sports, they not only increase their chances of growing up healthy, but also gain confidence, build friendships, acquire essential life skills such as teamwork and respect, and are more likely to excel academically in their future careers. Therefore, investing in youth sports facilities is an investment in the future successes and well-being of our community's children. Youth sports fields have a transformative impact on communities, extending far beyond the boundaries of the playing field. They serve as a catalyst for children's involvement in team sports, helping them establish healthy habits and forge social bonds that can last a lifetime. Moreover, improvements to Andre Reed Park have the potential to bring much needed economic stimulus to our community by attracting visitors and generating local revenue. Furthermore, enhancing the park's infrastructure can open the doors to a broader range of recreational opportunities for our community members, promoting a healthier and more active lifestyle. In light of these compelling reasons, I urge you to consider the possibilities that a partnership between ASD and the city of Allentown could bring to Andre Reed Park. Together we can create a vibrant, safe, and inclusive space that not only meets the immediate needs of our community, but also lays the groundwork for a brighter future for our children. ASD is eager to partner with the city to discuss this proposal further and explore potential avenues for collaboration. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have, Mandy has a little bit more on the, I think there's a question that Mr. Zubel posed related to the ability to lease this park and how that differs from some other leases that we have. I don't know if you can briefly describe this.
Sure, so I'll give my non-lawyer understanding of it. I'm sure the law department can go into more detail as well. But it's a state law that basically protects parks. So that way, state parks, national parks, right, not national parks, but state parks, any park, doesn't matter the administration, who's in charge, park's a park, and you're not allowed to take an active park and change the use of it to make it private. It's protecting parks from privatization. So that's the reason that leasing a park for a long time is the same as, you know, it's turning over ownership, it's changing the hands of the control of that property, you're turning it over to a different entity. So the issue isn't that the Parks Department can't enter a lease with ASD on another property, it's just that things that are parks, that are used as parks, that have historically been used as parks, we're not legally allowed to turn them over to other entities. So that's the difference. And one other note is that we received some grant funding from the state for the pool, and they have some pretty clear policies that I can share that are related to, if we provide you with grant funding, you cannot then change the use of the park that we give you money for. So potentially we would have to return funds to DCNR, and it would be not a great partnership with DCNR if we were to do that. So that's just about the lease. The partnership is great. That's something totally open to discussing, figuring out ways to increase investment in the park, speaking with DRF High School and what their needs are, figuring out how to, you know, if fundraising is something they're gonna do, encouraging that, encouraging investment in the park. I think the sticking point right now is the public access, as well as the we don't have the ability to enter into a long-term lease in a park that's being used as a park.
Thank you.
I'd like to echo what you said. I'd like to let the people on the east side know that this was bombarded on us 2 weeks ago. And we didn't have much time we were just listening. And I can only speak for myself. I'm thinking about the people that live on the east side, and this is their park. I mean, they're just getting a pool after so many years. So what Mandy had said over there, I did some investigating, and what I found was that the city received federal money through the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources to upgrade the park. All right, the stipulation was, the park must remain open to the public in perpetuity. If the city decides to lease parts of the park to ASD for use by Deeroff, it may not be for exclusive use for just Deeroff students. This entire park must remain open and available to the public. If Deeroff and ASD wants exclusive use, the city must notify DCNR, who will go to the federal government for approval. There is no guarantee that the feds will approve it. So I want you to know we're investigating, we're looking at it. This is not something we're just going to take lightly, and we do have in mind, the last time there was no one here representing, because I don't think you even knew about it. Right. And I'm so glad you guys came in tonight to give us so much more information. And of course, I did investigate, sir. You're right about that football field. Why don't they, in my opinion, fix it up, and there you go. But anyway, this is different things, and I think this is basically why I echo the same thing you were just saying, correct?
On a positive note, some of the things listed in the proposal, like bleachers and things like that, are things that we agree are good. I mean, it's not even proposed to be turf, it's grass, so it really is some improvements that will be helpful and beneficial to the park that, we're not trying to say we shouldn't do. It's just, so some of those things make a lot of sense.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I defer to Mr. Zuber. The point being for us is that it's a public park, and we want it to be available to the public. Your resolution encourages, recommends that Mayor Turk partner with the Allentown School District. Done. We've been working in close collaboration with the district. When you had the presentation made to you a couple weeks ago, that was done without the actual administration of the school district, who I've been actively working with. So you're free to pass the resolution to Parks and Rec and have additional conversation, but we're going to continue to do what we've been doing, which is working actively with the district to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our residents and of the students.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Zuber?
Yes, if you could get an opinion for next meeting, Counselor, whether or not that's considered an actual park under the park guidelines, because it's an athletic field. It's now Andre Reed Park because it's been renamed. So if you could just get some case law, I'd be fine with that. And I know for a fact there's lots of other parks that have fences around them that are open as well to the public as well as to the school. So the issue is not whether or not Andre Reed Park cannot be improved. The main issue seems to be whether or not the public will have access to it, and that can be accomplished.
Mr. Zuber, if you provide those, that question in writing to the administration, we'll make sure that you get an appropriate answer at the next possible opportunity.
Okay, as I said, this is very early. We're not going to rush into anything. This will go to Ms. Gerlach's committee, and will there be further discussions down the road at length? Not something that's going to happen overnight. And as the mayor said, this is something we will collaborate with for those improvements, to benefit both the students, the school district, and the city of Allentown, and all its people who live on the east side. Okay. Ms. Gerlach?
Yes, thank you. And as it has come to my committee, and perhaps we can talk about this, I remember attending at Deeroff way back, a meeting about basketball hoops, and perhaps we could go to the east side, have a meeting with the folks over there, and see what folks have on their minds. And to, as you can, look, I know how it is to live in a neighborhood and feel like someone's gonna come and change it, and, cause it's happened where I live, so I get it. But the fact that this resolution is on brought you here. If this resolution wasn't on, you wouldn't have known that this was happening. And so I signed on to this with Mr. Zukel so that we could at least begin to have these conversations, because far too often backdoor meetings happen and then boom, next thing you know, something's happening and you're like, what? So this at least starts the conversation. Hopefully we can have something over on the east side soon. So we can hear, not just one meeting, because usually whenever people say, oh, let's get the community's involvement, it's one meeting, you put stickers on posters and then you go home. Multiple meetings, multiple conversations, so we can ensure that we reach some type of agreement to serve everyone. Thank
I would
you.
encourage those meetings to occur with Mr. Rob on the basketball court. I hear he's an excellent free throw shooter.
May have to challenge it. Okay, thank you all for your comments. New business, is there anything for new business, Mike?
Could I just, real quick, did a police officer get that, that woman that was talking? Okay, cool, thank you.
Okay. Anything for good and welfare? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.